Welcome, race fans, back to SVR. This is the S2 race for round 8 of our 2025 VR Sim Racing World Championship. My name is Webbo, here to join you as usual for today's action. We have the standings as they are currently after round 7, moving away from Barcelona, and of course after any steward decisions that affected the previous round. Mega Racing lead the S2 Championship on 193 points, some 12 ahead, 22 ahead of Leigh. This is embarrassing commentator math. Brokaga a third on 134, so it really is the tale of the season across the board here for Leigh versus Mega Racing. It's a common thread across many of our divisions and the overall Master Championship standings. Brokaga a third on 134, as I said, with Buckstein Racing on 118. Kimi's racing team broke into the three figures on 103. Coach Dave lagging behind a little bit on 86, but not quite as far as Jan Interiors Racing in this division. At very least, in the Drivers' Championship, Empire leads the championship. However, I believe we'll be missing this round due to a well-deserved holiday, I'm sure. But podiums first, second or third for every round so far for Empire, so he'll be extra remiss to be away for round 8. 130 points for our championship leader. That could well be eaten into, though, by no less than V8 Eater in second place, who's on a 3-race winning streak and has 114 points. He also competed in the AN division just an hour and a half prior to this round, and I think it was a 2-hour endurance he had done prior to that as well on the same day from very early in his USA morning. Jose Luis Cervantes has 79 points, has missed two previous rounds, but also has podiumed every other round that he has taken part in. AMAC is in 4th place on 55, just 3 ahead of Run DMC in 5th place. Vice, relative newcomer to the league, is joint 6th with Jailhouse Chris on 49. We have Nintendo just 1 point behind them in 8th place with Liquid Gecko on 44. Christo, who got himself onto the podium in the last round and joined us just 3 rounds ago, has 43 points for Team Mega. Then John P, or John Pauly, has 41. Looking Lou 30, Enigma 17, so Grinch 15, Fun Size 9, and Sleepwalker just the 4 points with the 1 race appearance so far. Well, hopefully you're ready for a fantastic race here around Kyoto Yamagiwa forwards configuration. We certainly are looking forward to seeing how the drivers organise themselves and are able to fulfil this difficult round then of the championship. I'm just going to make sure that my logo is not in the way of anything as you try to enjoy the race here with the much smaller track map than what we are used to. This is how qualifying worked out. At the back is Irish Liquid with alongside him newcomer Monsieur Keefe, who I've not had the pleasure of commentating over before. Monsieur Keefe starts 1 place behind regular season teammate Kelvin the Boss, and Nintendo for Buckstein is in 11th. Liquid Gecko for Kim's racing team is in 10th place with John P in 9th. Sir Grinch managed 8th place with Sir Grinch Racing on his back wing as well, I can see, and the Grinch, just a tiny little logo there, fantastic, on the rear of the car. Jailhouse Chris in 7th. We have Pumpkin King starting in 6th place with AMAC in 5th. Run DMC starts in 4th place for Buckstein, and then we have a Team Mega driver Christo, who, as I say, got 3rd place last time out, starting in 3rd place himself as well. Jose Luis Cervantes on the medium tyres, starting in 2nd. And V8 Eater starting in that pole position once again. So a very busy racing day for V8 Eater. Let's see if it turns into a successfully finishing race 3 for him on the same day. We will get underway. Hopefully you guys are ready to enjoy this one with me. But yeah, drop your favourite moments or timestamps in the comments of the video below. But for now, let's get on with it. Let's get racing for 31 laps around Kyoto Driving Park for round 8 of the championship. The 5 red lights are on. V8 versus Jose Luis Cervantes, and it's dropped the clutch, and it's go, go, go. Both Coach Dave cars swerving to the right of their respective start positions as down into the first corner we go. And alongside V8 was Jose Luis Cervantes, but he just eased out of the acceleration, and that was absolutely crazy stuff. All drivers across the curb in these SF23 cars, and you will see then that many of the drivers will take it very steadily as Christo has dropped down to 4th position at this stage, and he's on the medium tyres, and there's a crash in front, and we better just check out what exactly just went down. Off board then. Let's try and get you a good camera angle as we go through in towards turn 6. This is on board with Christo in P4. Have a look ahead. Both cars going off, and then that's the Buckstein car of Run DMC who gained a position from the start, unfortunately losing out positions and then very much on the defensive, and he is taking advantage of 3 wide into the corner. Both Bucksteins go flying into what is a tremendously unfortunate situation. That was Nintendo completely off the circuit as well. Oh, he was hit from behind, was he? Let's just check out exactly what went down for him. This is Kelvin the Boss in P12. Nobody further behind. We've got another car. I think that's John P. Possibly it is John P. Everybody going flying. And then Kelvin the Boss, just a straight nerf in the rear of the Buckstein car. And the wreckage is turquoise and white on the exit of the corner. What a shocker for the very popular team here. I can see a Pacers livery on the halo, and V8 just screaming off into the lead then as he gets in towards the final corner, turn 14 of lap 1. We've got Jose Luis, and Christo has made a great comeback here to be hounding and chasing down Jose. Here the Mexican, it's USA, Mexico, Germany on our provisional podium. Pumpkin King is in 4th place, reserving here in the SF23s, usually a GT3 driver. They do go incredibly wide in towards turn 1, but actually Sir Grinch getting the car hooked up into the corner a little bit neater. Everybody went flying over the grass in that first lap, but people taking it a little bit easier here. It's Pumpkin King on the hard tyres. The hards will be a very viable race tyre here at Yamagiwa, thanks to the extreme wear that drivers will see on the front right with these long, looping, fast-paced left-hand turns. Christo still in 3rd position. This is Sir Grinch down into the chicane. That's Liquid Gecko in 6th. JL has Chris in 7th. Michelle Keefe up from near the back in 8th place. Kelvin the Boss's teammate, I'm assuming, would have damage, but no damage on the front of his car. Irish Liquid in 10th, AMAC in 11th, John P recovering the car in 12th. Run DMC though off the track again, and he's already pitted, and I'm not entirely sure what happened to Run DMC. Let's see, he was off the circuit, was he not? On the way into the corner, or was that indeed Nintendo? Let's go through. Oh yes, and how he avoided damage on going into the barrier into turn 1, and an absolute nightmare for Buckstein Transport Service then as Nintendo comes through. I think he's had some action repairs on the car. We join leader V8 Ito. Let's go back to see the gap to Jose Luis, and Jose has just in the mirrors, just to the left of screen, you can see Christo starting to creep up behind him, get the benefit of that tow. Let's ride with Jose Luis as we can see the virtual mirror that of course the driver doesn't have in the central mirror in an SF23, and that is Jose getting a purple sector then on this lap 3. It's not the lap 2 glitch, and he pulls away from Christo through the S's, through into turn 2, into turn 6, and down the hill then, heavy braking super late into 50 meters before the corner, throwing the car around. That is obviously going to hurt the tyres, but it's all important for this stage of the race. Jose Luis in 2nd, Christo in 3rd position, and the podium potential drivers pulling away at this stage from Pumpkin King, who admittedly is on the hard tyres from the start. We will see if one stop is the way to go. It was a marginal in the S1 division whether a one-stop was a viable strategy. That does bring this into play, though, thanks to it being a slightly shorter race, 31 laps versus 47. That's actually a significant amount of time as Sir Grinch goes wide, but no major damage on the Brokarger car. And that is Jailhouse Chris losing the car going through the final corner. Let's just check out, was he actually helped into that, or was that simply a traction oversteer moment? It was just the traction, unfortunately, for Jailhouse Chris, hitting the barrier. Fortunately for him, though, he can reverse onto the racetrack, not in front of anybody else, and bail to the pits if he so desires, but he's decided to see how the lap goes in terms of his drop in time. Hard tyres, and new hard tyres nonetheless there, of course, for him. And that's another bit of contact then for Run DMC into the back of John P. I'm going to extend the time of this race significantly if I keep replaying every moment. But down into the final corner, oh dear me, that looked potentially like there may have been some lag on the car. Let me know what you think in the comments, but that certainly seemed to be a sudden teleportation, and Run DMC not picking up damage, going past John Pauly, then down into the first corner, made the move stick. Eventually it came through nice and cleanly, and there you can see, I think that's the Pacers logo for Run DMC. So obviously celebrating the basketball NBA situation with the Pacers, as Mathieu still leads Kelvin the Boss. Mathieu started on the soft tyres. This explains how he got so far into the race, but check out that front right tyre wear. That is extraordinary from Mathieu. So he's going to be tiptoeing around the corners. There you can see that left-hander. He lets his teammate through. Potentially that was partly explained by that, but he'll struggle to get the car turned into this next left-hander. There you go. I almost know what I'm talking about. Car 35 cannot get round. He'll then try and use the right-hander on the way through the final corner, and I'm sure will bail into the pit lane for presumably some hard tyres. At the front of the grid, though, we have V8 Eater ahead of Jose Luis Cervantes, whose pace has been electric, but not quite on the level of V8 Eater, who's managed a 1:15.922. Jose Luis has had good laps and a not so good lap in comparison to V8 Eater, and Christo is right there behind him, trying to make the best use, trying to make an absolute nuisance of himself. And then suddenly V8 Eater slows on that section. So I wonder if there was a problem for V8 Eater with his intricately designed helmet. Down into the braking zone of the first hairpin, and just seemed to have lost a lot of pace in that third sector of the racetrack, but then picking up the pace once again, and that gap just helping him to ebb and flow between the two rivals here. Christo definitely trying to get himself a podium at very least, potentially a 1-2 for Team Mega. That was V8 Eater going very close to the pit wall entry as Pumpkin King's pace starts to lift as well. A 1:17.1 for him, and the front three start to just slow each other down a little bit, caught in each other's dirty air. And actually, you're just seeing Christo gain on the track map slightly. Car 84 as he comes through now the S's. You can really gain through here, but of course you have to crank that steering wheel more than you would expect and hook the inside tyre into the inside curbs to try and get the car to rotate neatly. And the more you're on that curb, the more damage you're doing to the tyre. Down goes Jose Luis. He's in striking distance. Strike he tries into the first chicane, and both cars offline slightly. But that was V8 Eater getting very, very close indeed. Gives Jose the outside, brakes later into the first hairpin, as of course the guy on the inside always can do. And that just compromised Jose Luis as they go through there. Now it's about not making a single error, as you've got two drivers hounding you here for your potential win. V8 Eater on the limit, and Jose Luis right there with him as well. Christo hoping to pick up the pieces, hoping to take advantage of Jose's pace being a little bit compromised at this stage. You've got to say, right now, it looks like Jose is a bit more hooked up than the Team Mega drivers. certainly in different sectors of the racetrack. That was really strong from VAT to through the final corner and the first corner of the following lap 7. And Sir Grinch pits then, the first driver on the scheduled pit stop off the medium tyre. That is quite early for Sir Grinch. I'm just going to check out whether he had damage on the car. It's a bit too late actually to find that information out, unfortunately. But 1, 2, 3 is VAT to Jose Luis, Cervantes and Cristo, with Pumpkin King still in 4th on the hard tyres, biding his time and actually not far away from the lead 3, certainly within the pit stop distance. Liquid Gecko in P5, just using the grass and dirt on the outside of turn 6 as he heads downhill into what is officially turn 7. We're not going to count that right-hand flat-out kink. Kelvin the Boss in 6th with Sir Grinch, then out of the pit lane on another set of medium tyres, I want to say. That's a second set of mediums for Sir Grinch, so it does kind of indicate to me that possibly he was running with a little bit of damage. Irish Liquid in 8th with Run DMC in 9th place, picking up positions, and again, unfortunately, into the barrier. The Berkstein Transport Service cars having an absolute nightmare of life here at the moment, as he stayed out, I think, at this stage. Jailhouse Chris, I think we've seen Jailhouse into the pits. We've definitely seen Mush O'Keefe into the pits. No, I'm assuming that Jailhouse Chris was not, in fact, in the pits. And Nintendo on 12th, John P in 13th place. AMAC, some surprise there to find AMAC down in 14th place. And I hope that wasn't some issue for him. Jose Luis is following V8 but we've just seen a problem for Cristo potentially. Was that in fact a pit stop? It was a pit stop for Cristo. So Cristo's been in off the medium tyres, come back out again on a second set of medium tyres. I was expecting the drivers to push for a one stop here today. So let's see what happens. If they can get through to end of lap 10, I think the hard tyres will be within range. As you can see, here is Pumpkin King, who's on that hard tyre, and will be targeting, I would have thought, around lap 20 to get the hard tyre through to. I think if you're starting in on the hard tyres, you're probably trying to make the one stop work. Certainly wasn't fuel that Cristo was stopping for, as the driver's still around 60% fuel remaining on the car, as VAT is now starting to pull away from Jose Luis, a gap of probably around 0.7, 0.8 of a second at this stage, and VAT is actually closing in on the rearmost driver, and that is AMAC. At the end of lap 8, AMAC looking, unfortunately, at a potential blue flag situation and being asked to wave the leaders by in a few, maybe a lap or two's time, potentially. That is then coming from the back, AMAC, John P, Nintendo with Mush O'Keefe. This is Run DMC hunting down Jailhouse Chris's 9th position. The gap just was closer, but it's just extended out slightly. Run DMC running a little wide on the exit of turn 14, the final corner, round the long looping corner there. Beautiful line, starting out wide, coming back to the apex, drifting out wide again, flat out throughout the course of this first sector and a half. Well, actually, first 2 sectors of the racetrack, completely flat out until the breaking point down into the chicane on certainly in qualifying for the drivers here. Whether they decide to feather the throttle and take it easy on that front right during race pace is a slightly different matter. And of course, the drivers will have done a lot of practice to get their qualifying perfect, but then you strap on a huge amount of fuel, and suddenly the vehicle dynamics change dramatically in this SF23. You can't ride these curbs quite so high. These are very low to the ground, and there are quite tall curbings here at Kyoto Yamagiwa, really built for road cars and taller GT3 with higher ground clearance. This race circuit, it's very, very unpleasant to ride and ground out the car. Looks like Run DMC suffering dirty air, suffering a little bit on the way through the corner. This is Kelvin the Boss in P8, and he's trying to close in on Sir Grinch and try and take that 7th place away from the Grinch in the Bro Cargo. Kelvin the Boss in the black and gold, of course, and Sir Grinch representing Bro Cargo in the black and green. Kelvin the Boss 8th position, and he's hunting and he's going for the manoeuvre. I'm just waiting to see whether Run DMC makes a manoeuvre here. He's really taking liberties and taking huge risks on the exit of the corners. We have a yellow flag on the circuit. Who is this? It looks like that's another Coach Dave car. It's Irish Liquid, I believe. We'll try and have a look and see what happened to Irish Liquid. Well, it looks like it's just exiting, unfortunately, that tricky chicane, and you get offline through here and you really do struggle. Well, he wasn't that far offline, but just still had the steering lock on the way out of the corner. So unfortunately that was the cause of the yellow flag. V8 still leads Jose Luis Cervantes in second place. We've got Pumpkin King in the third position, just ahead of Christo, I want to say. Well, no, quite significantly ahead of Christo, who has pitted. So Christo's gap, of course, to the two leaders, very important at this stage as Jose Luis follows V8. There's going to be a journey of different strategies here. We're on lap 11 on the medium tyres for the lead pairing. I really am surprised to see that Christo pitted quite so much earlier than his teammate here on the medium tyres, and that's Jose Luis Cervantes. A mini spin, a hit on the barrier, and he'll be super grateful, I think. Well, I hope for his sake that the hard tyre window is open, but it just goes to show how dangerous this Kyoto Yamagiwa circuit is with this current conditions and heavy fuel load still on the car, still about 55% fuel waiting on the car. We'll confirm that on his way into the pit lane. But another yellow flag from the car, from the track in front. That is unfortunately going to be a Yamplacht Interiors car that comes in. It was 53%. We weren't too far away. Let's try and find it. Was Monsieur Keefe, was it? No, that's another car who's off. Absolutely astonishing here. Tell me that wasn't... Was that Monsieur Keefe both times? Let's have a look. I think it was. And I think... Oh, big snap. This is a absolutely desperately difficult situation for him. And what a shame to see him in this situation at the moment, just trying to recover the car, and it is just all over the shop, hitting the barrier over and over. And Monsieur Keefe probably feeling like pressing that quit button right now, and making sure that he doesn't action an unsafe rejoin. A couple of cars coming in. That is obviously Jose Luis Cervantes, who is in at the moment. V8 far and away now the leader, but he's going to have to be careful because drivers behind are going to come out and be on newer and fresh and grippier tyres at this stage on lap 12. That's a blue flag for Pumpkin King to help him with his overtaking and lapping of the Coach Dave car. Down we go into turn 6. He'll be hoping to catch the car in front, going through the next process. A lot of drivers. It must be a stronger racing line then for these cars, because so many drivers going extremely wide on the exit of turn 6. I'm not sure I remember seeing that in S1 quite so often. But Pumpkin King coming up to lap 2 cars who are potentially involved in quite an interesting battle themselves. Pumpkin King moving through the first hairpin. He goes out to the wide position, hoping that the car on the inside lifts off, and does so. That's quite accommodating then for him. Let's have a look at Jose Luis Cervantes in third place. He's just gone onto the hard tyres. Remember Christo, second set of mediums, and actually didn't gain on Jose, despite the fact that Jose hit the barrier on his in-lap. What ended up being his in-lap, whether that was deliberate or not, I'm not entirely sure. But Jose Luis then in third position. Strange to see the blue flag there at that point, but Christo has essentially lost about 3 seconds, I think, throughout the course of the first into second stints here on the cars. But yeah, trying to unlock something else then, Christo, and it looks like it's going to be a third place at the moment for the Team Mega second driver. V8 though continues to lead this race for Team Mega, and I'm expecting to see him on his way into the pit lane. He's got blue flags helping him as well. There's I think that's John P in the Delesi who is in front of him on the circuit. So that is Delesi versus Mega, but in a very different setup. V8 comes through and looks to head down the start-finish line, start-finish straight, and doesn't pit again. Having a little look, having a little move around there. And it looks like John P has now lifted to the outside of the corner, allowing V8 to go through. I've just noticed V8 has got a blue stripe down his car there. That's not exactly on brand, but the 999 is going over the crest after turn 5 on the way into turn 6. And he's got a decent lead now. Hard for me to tell exactly whether that is still a pit stop difference, but clearly still feeling like he's got reasonable pace. 16.5 was lap 13. We've got a slight glitch tracking the previous laps there. Contrast that to Pumpkin King, who's managed a 17.9 on that lap. And then we have Jose 16.4 and Cristo faster still, but he's on the newer medium tyres, a 16.2. Fastest lap so far lies with Cristo, who is going aggressive on this strategy. I'm assuming going to go medium hard or medium soft for this stint. That's Jose Luis closing in and passing Coach Dave car, who is being lapped at this stage. But yeah, Cristo picking up the pace now, finding the fastest pace on the circuit so far. Obviously fresh tyres, presumably using a fair bit of boost. Just to compare, the fastest lap in S1 was a 13.1, so 2.5 seconds faster so far than Cristo has managed, and I think that was set on medium tyres no less as well. V8 first, Pumpkin King second, Jose Luis Cervantes in third, and Cristo in fourth. Let's go back and see what's going on with the rest of the field at the moment. So Grinch running in P5, I think on his, he did stop, and I think that was possibly an unscheduled pit stop. This is a genuine battle for position then, as Liquid Gecko is on the hard tyres. That's Sir Grinch in front. Less than a second separating the Bro Cargo from the Kimmy's Racing Team car. Here, of course, it's round 8 of the season. We're into the second half of our 13-race regular season. There is a post-race promotion relegation competition, as far as I'm aware. But in terms of setting the overall championship standings, it will be done in the 13 rounds with no drop scores. If you miss, you miss, unfortunately. And Liquid Gecko in that 6th place then, not quite in striking distance just yet. Run DMC, dramatic race so far for Run DMC. It's hard tyres starting to really give up the ghost here on that front right. May not make it as V8 pits now off his medium tyres after 15 entire laps on the medium tyre. Surely that means it's a one-stop, no doubt, for V8 as Jailhouse Chris in P8, and he is running for Coach Dave quite high at the moment. Kelvin the Boss in 9th place, and fresh-ish hard tyres at the moment for the 35, with Nintendo not far behind, and the Bergstein Transport Service drivers, who were dead last, are moving forward through the grid. This is Nintendo versus Kelvin the Boss. This is for position. And this is going to be an interesting one here. We'll see if we've managed to tidy up our racecraft from earlier on between these two drivers. And hopefully there won't be any hard feelings. Accidents happen, especially on lap 1. That's Kelvin the Boss not quite maximising the full width of the circuit on the exit of the final corner. This is going to allow Nintendo to close in using the overtake button, getting the inside lane here on the way into the corner, but actually lifting significantly earlier than Kelvin the Boss. Doesn't want to trust that front right or even abuse that front right too much. I thought, given the overtake, he was going to go for it there. The overtake boost usage, I thought he was going to go for it into turn 1, but he's waiting for a more sure opportunity. Going wider to the outside, tucking into an earlier apex is Nintendo. And will this be a launch move down into turn 7? Kelvin the Boss just showing that he knows he's there. And Nintendo not overcommitting on the way through as he tucks in underneath the rear wing. Fantastic on-brand and very dark helmet livery there for Nintendo. I see, might want to sign some sponsors on there, I would have thought. But Nintendo is hanging on here to P10 in the order. we should have a look momentarily at the lead of the race. This is Amac getting a blue flag. I think that must be Jose passing him. Irish Liquid is into the barriers, unfortunately. That's an unusual place to lose it for him. Let's try and see exactly what went down for Irish Liquid here, because he goes, misses the apex slightly, gets on the power, and just does not lift. And spinning. And contact with the barriers front and rear. That is painful for Monsieur, for the coach Dave driver Irish Liquid. Pumpkin King is your leader because he hasn't yet pitted. Jose Luis has undercut V8 Eater and stayed ahead of Christo. That's thanks in no small part to the fact that I'm sure V8 Eater fueled to a finish and went onto the hard tyres. There you can see the difference in the liveries between the two Team Mega drivers. One has a blue stripe, one doesn't, going down the engine cover. This is Christo. Pumpkin King does now pit at just over the halfway period of the race. Team Mega swap positions very tidily there as Christo yields to his teammate, who has been faster through qualifying and the first portion of the race. But Christo on a different strategy here. V8 Eater could do a favour to his teammate by taking him and helping him move forward. But of course, he is going to rely on his teammate to bring him forward as well. Somehow or other, V8 Eater has lost a huge amount of time to Jose Luis Cervantes. Now, let me just track that. His in-lap was a 39, his out-lap an 18.4. Jose Cervantes, in-lap, a 34, out-lap an 18. That is a 5 seconds difference in the in-lap and pitting period for Jose Luis Cervantes over V8 Eater. And that is pretty extraordinary, given that V8 Eater stopped later as well. They're on identical fuel loads, so should be fueled to a finish. Something pretty huge went awry for V8 Eater, and now he's learning how to cope with this car on the hard tyres as well. His target is more than clear. It's directly in front of him. All three for the podium within the same 200 yards going down the start-finish straight. But Jose Luis Cervantes with a monumentally faster in-lap than V8 Eater. That was what made the difference at this stage. And I can't really explain why, unless there was a significant disruption to V8 Eater's in-lap due to traffic, potentially. Excuse me. So, V8 Eater, P12. And P2, excuse me. V8 Eater P2, Christo P3, and Pumpkin King in that fourth position. Liquid Gecko rides in fifth at this stage. We'll keep our eye on the lead three. There is Christo, and there is V8 Eater catching Jose Luis hand over fist, using the overtake. So perhaps that is part of the reason why the two drivers have such a difference here. No, they've both used the same amount of overtake at this point as well. V8 Eater mashing that button, tucking up behind Jose Luis. Jose Luis using the overtake in defense as well. Round the outside we go. Two great championship rivals go side by side round turn one. That's magic from both of them, leaving the space. And oh, they touch wheel rims going through what is a completely flat out section of the racetrack. Jose Luis holds on. Wow. That was something else, and I think I want to see that again. Let's go back to how that went down from a slightly different angle. There should be a faster entry into the corner. Slightest of lifts there from V8 Eater, and he just hangs on going through the sequence of corners. They touch on the way into turn 3. V8 Eater slightly shyer going through turn 4 into turn 5. And Jose Luis holds on. That was magical from both of them. Round into turn 6 we go. This will be the challenge then. The stopping power required down into turn 7. The bottom of the hill. You need to brake super early and rely on the driver behind not mashing into the back of you. I was so nervous racing with V8 Eater because of his stopping power. When we were together, I actually yielded to the inside of that corner far too much. But V8 Eater going for the outside maneuver. There's a yellow flag on the circuit ahead of these drivers. Let's see exactly if that's still going to affect them. It's gone back to green, thankfully. And they continue this epic battle. That was Jose Luis a little bit wide, a little bit wrong, going through the second chicane. Vietita cuts across the nose to cover the inside line through the final corner. And it will look like a slightly unforced error, and then a big snap from Vietita on the exit of the corner. And again, they go side by side down the start-finish line, both using the the overtake button. I want to see exactly what happened here. That was just the tiniest of errors, I think, from Jose Luis, hitting the dirt on the way out of the second chicane. But somehow he then prospered coming through the next corner as Vietita left the space on the inside for Jose, so they can continue to battle like this on the way out of the final corner. Once again, it's lap 21 of 31. Diving to the inside goes Vietita this time through turn 1. He'll try and hold on. They're not side by side now, and they have a lapped car in front to navigate here. Vietita will be screaming blue flags on the way through as they pass car 35, and it looks like Vietita's holding on to the outside line, and again cutting across the nose of Jose Luis, who suffers the dirty air as a consequence. And then we go down. I'm sure Jose had to lift going through there, because that would have been a frightening moment as the close wall comes to greet you on the exit of turn 6. Vietita hanging on here at the moment to the potential lead of the race. Cristo not too far behind, but actually these two leaders lifting each other to newfound levels of performance. Vietita and Jose. Then we're only 2/3 of the way through this race, and we've already had 2 laps of fantastic battling going on between the Brokaga and the Team Mega Championship leader at this point. So fantastic stuff from them. Jose Luis will be collecting his thoughts, collecting his tyres, trying to see what he can do now to recatch Vietita, but that didn't last long. Jose's lead after the pit stop, and I think it will be a single pit stop for them. I think Cristo, not only is he in 3rd place, but he's also going to have to. He has now pitted again. That's why that explains the gap. So he has now pitted again, come out on the hard tyres. He's changed compound as he's supposed to, with 10 laps to go. Pumpkin King is not far away. This is Pumpkin King in the Delesi on the medium tyres, and he is reeling in Cristo. So Cristo's got a lot of work to do now to hang on to that 3rd position as Pumpkin King puts in a purple first 2 sectors of the racetrack, and he is absolutely going for it. He's got plenty of overtake boost remaining in comparison to Cristo here. Cristo's going to have to be fast and reserve that boost power, as Pumpkin King has wisely, while on the hard tyres, just held on to it all and not used any. Still purple into the end of sector 3 for Pumpkin King as he comes out of the second chicane down into the final corner. And he is less than a second, I think, behind Cristo at this stage of the race. Firing out of that final corner, using the overtake. Cristo will be doing the same, just a small burst here. Well, actually, he's keeping his finger absolutely mashed onto the button as he heads into turn 1. I don't think the drivers can go flat out on race tyre and fuel with the boost engaged through that corner, but yeah, they can then use it as soon as they exit turn 1. And they're stressing that tyre a little bit less. Pumpkin King in P4 as they head down in towards that turn 6 now, and hot on the heels. Liquid Gecko is back in 5th place. There's an absolute gulf between the top 4 and the rest of the field. Liquid Gecko in 5th, so Grinch in 6th place. JL has Chris in 7th, Nintendo in P8. And then back to John P. Another big gap then to P9 with AMAC in 10th at the moment. Kelvin the Boss in 11th. Irish Liquid in 12th. And into the pits comes Michelle Keefe, who's run through his medium tyre allocation. Vietita leads the race from Jose Luis, and the gap is around and about, I would say, 0.7 of a second between them. It is super close. There's a little bit more in the way of boost available to the 999 Vietita championship leader, and very busy driver on race day, with Jose Luis then in P2, just about, I would say, 30% of his overtake boost remaining, and he's using it. He's using it a lot as he runs through turn 6, and he's closing in very, very rapidly. This forces a defense on V8 Ita, who's got to hold the inside line. You can go side by side through here, but you've got to cooperate. And slight miscalculation from Jose Luis Cervantes at first glance. Let's have a look at how that felt on the chase cam from him. Was he given enough room on the way in? Did he try and brake so late that he ended up out-braking himself? Down we go. Look for the braking point here. I think that was just slightly late on the brakes from Jose, potentially. Trying not to be biased in the way I'm looking at these incidents, but Jose Luis, there certainly wasn't contact into the corner. But if you disagree with me, let me know. And of course, make sure you keep it pinned to the info.svr-racing.com website for the race results and open investigations in the days following the race day there on the Sunday. So it's V8 to Jose Luis Cervantes. The gap now probably something approximating 4 or 5 seconds. That's a significant swing in V8 Ita's favour as Cristo continues in 3rd place, and this is where the key battle is for the 3rd step on our podium. It's lap 24 of the 31. Pumpkin King started on the hard tyres. He's had the best out of the mediums. You've got to say now it's going to be a slightly more economic and management style race of this finals phase for Pumpkin King. The gap has opened again slightly. Cristo has the hard tyres in the good operating window, used the overtake when it mattered, and is hanging on to a little bit here. Of course, Pumpkin King can blast on the overtake down the start-finish straight and down the north straightaway, or snake section as it were, which is flat out without stressing the tyre too much. And Pumpkin King closing in like mad into turn 7. Cristo defending to the inside. Pumpkin King, again, if you are stuck on the outside run down into that first chicane, you lose out massively in the time, as we just saw earlier with Jose and V8 Ita going into that corner side by side, and Pumpkin King living to fight another day. But time and tyres are running out on him down into the 2nd chicane, getting a good exit thanks to the medium tyre responsiveness. You need good turning, and then you can ride the curb on exit, plant your foot to the floor. Be careful on the exit of the final corner, because we've seen many drivers spin out through there. And Pumpkin King in P4, using the overtake once again, needs to lift, I think, going into, and a big lift going into turn 1 to protect that front right tyre. He's managing the pace, managing the car as much as he's able to do, while still being obviously desperate to get a podium for his Delesi team, while championship leader, excuse me, I've been miscalling this all race long, championship leader Empire is away. And this is essentially for Empire's leader of the championship, and through he goes. And that is Cristo, I think, with a mistake into turn 6, unfortunately, for Team Mega in the 84. As we head down, what caused this? A confusing one for me. Looking okay. A lift going through the corner. I think maybe touched the inside curb, possibly. And just then losing the car on the exit. He hung on to it nicely and bravely, so as not to actually make contact with the barrier. But now that opens the door for a potential Delesi podium. This is really important, of course, for the Mega versus Delesi championship battle in the team standing as well. So Pumpkin King would be absolutely thrilled, I think, to debut in the SF23 and get himself a podium. But he needs to try and collect as many points as he can, or at least steal points from the Team Mega drivers, while Captain, podcast host, and championship leader here in S2 Empire is away. Cristo, 4th position. Sir Grinch pits, then off the hard tyre. V8 to leads. Jose in 1st position. This is the battle for 3rd place. There's an interesting, intriguing battle going on behind them at the moment. I'm just going to try and track it and find it for you. This is John P. And it's AMAC right behind him. AMAC 4P10 at the moment. John P on the medium tyres. AMAC on the hards. AMAC with good pace going through the first sector here. Might be in a position to run side by side into turn 6. I think if you can get the inside, that's a preferable overtaking, slightly more comfortable overtaking position. But inside or outside moves are very much possible through that turn 6. but again, the driver's going super wide on the exit. There's another yellow flag for the drivers as they approach this first chicane. Purple sector for AMAC on used hard tyres, and he gets a drive away from the corner. Where is the Delesi? It's just there to his left and sweeping around the outside. Oh, now that's an interesting one. Let's have a look from outside of the car, because there was a yellow flag in operation. And did he overtake going through the corner? Let's see. When did that yellow flag come in? There they are, side by side. He's ahead. And then the yellow flag there. So I think he'll get away with it, but that was marginal from AMAC, who took the position. And he was very fortunate with the timing. I'm sure the car was already well off the circuit. But it looks like he got ahead for P9 then, just ahead of the yellow flag. So remember, yellow flag is there for driver safety and for awareness. So he has to, he must not overtake under a yellow flag, of course. But AMAC in P9 then, getting ahead of John P. Kelvin the Boss is 11th. Irish Liquid is somewhere heading into the pits in 12th position with some damage on the car at the moment. Irish Liquid running last at the moment on the hard tyre, but a fresh set of hard tyres for Monsieur Keefe on his debut. This is V8 Eater, lap 28 of the 31 as he comes through. His rival for the win, Jose Luis, has faded in this second, well, this third phase of the race. Unfortunately, after their fantastic battle, looks like it's taken too much out of the tyres, too much out of the boost. Reserve tank here for Jose. So with 3 complete laps to run, V8 Eater looks like he's in a great position to take home the W here for Team Mega, while his championship rival and championship leader Empire is away. This could be a big swing. This could be the 4th consecutive win for V8 Eater here. So he is looking very, very strong. His point score in the first 7 rounds started with 7 points, and then has been third, second, win from V8 Eater. It has been a tremendous increase in pace and competitiveness from our USA driver V8 Eater for Team Mega, ahead today of Jose Luis, who is hoping to close in on the battle at the head of the championship there between the two main rivals, Empire and V8 Eater. Pumpkin King is in 3rd place. Very competent driver, of course, in the GT division, Pumpkin King, and having to reserve here for his teammate. Christo isn't far away from Pumpkin King, and he's got tyres that will probably be in better shape towards the end of the race. Let's have a look at that front right for Pumpkin King. It's not going to be any better for going off onto the grass and over the curb there. So as they approach, I think, is that Jose? No, thankfully not. It is Sir Grinch as they approach Sir Grinch in the Brokaga. Wait for the blue flags to be waved. Christo's closing in. There is the blue flag. Certainly Sir Grinch will do well to get out of the way. Both cars at the same time. We still have a challenge on here for that 3rd step of the podium, and Christo closing incredibly fast into turn 1, almost tucking the car directly underneath the Delesi, and they're taking wildly different lines through the S's. No boost being used down this section from Christo. He doesn't want to take a dodgy move here. Wants to be one clean attempt, one clean pass, and disappear off as soon as possible. I think he's smelling a little bit of weakness from Pumpkin King's current setup on the medium tyre. Whoa, big slide! What a hold from Christo, fully sideways through the second part of the first chicane. What a heroic hold that was. And definitely, I'm going to give a style point, a Webbo style point. I would give 2, but I'll be accused of bias as he tries to take this car. He'll be cooling those outside tyres as well, doing that onto the grass. That won't be a comfortable position for him. And he needs to make this move. He needs to make it clean and quickly down the inside. Looks like Pumpkin King couldn't get to the inside line, and we've seen cars have problems going through here. Oh, they're both off. They're both off coming out of the final corner. What on earth just went down for both drivers as they're tiptoeing around each other on the inside? Do they make contact? No! That's astonishing. Unless that is netcode for the two drivers. They didn't make contact. They... that is absolutely wild for both of them as they both make synchronized spinellas. Wow. I've not seen that before. Certainly no obvious contact between the two. Astonishing on the end of lap 30 for P3 and P4 to both be in that situation. Now Christo was able to recover the car quicker, but has damage on the car. Pumpkin King somehow does not have damage on the car. In towards the second half of the final lap goes V8 Eater, unchallenged at this point, you have to say, from Jose Cervantes going for the fastest lap. But AMAC has it at the moment, a 1:14.728. V8 Eater has drained the battery here for the push to pass. He has a blue flag showing for some reason. The car's almost a sector in front of him. That's a little bit unkind. Maybe that's a blue flag in advance of Jose coming through past the car behind. But in towards the final corner they go. The 999 rounds the final corner. It is V8 Eater for a 4-race winning streak continues. Wins for Team Mega across the line at Kyoto Driving Park round 8 of the championship. Great performance from V8 Eater, just slightly to the deficit of Jose Luis. We don't like that, Jose, because it causes yellow flags for following drivers, but a second place for the Mexican. Pumpkin King has somehow got back into the lead. We're going to have to go back and find out exactly how that just went down. How on earth does he manage to get ahead of Christo? Christo goes around the round turn 6. Down we go. Was this a clean overtake? It looks like it. Down into the corner we go. Christo is super nervous on that broken front wing, but yielding position then to Pumpkin King, who makes an overtake on the final lap of the race, notwithstanding the huge spin that he suffered in the penultimate one. Journey through that final corner. I can't believe my eyes. How on earth did Christo lose that third position? But Pumpkin King, full credit to him. Never give up, Pumpkin King, because Team Delessi, the 911, will finish just behind his teammate on the road, but he will actually secure third position, reserving for Delessi as they cross the line in flying formation. That is Pumpkin King in P3 ahead of Christo in 4th position. I will just miss the final standings there. Liquid Gecko from Jailhouse Chris, from Nintendo Sir Grinch, and John P. And I think that's AMAC finishing out in P10 it is. Indeed. Wow. Absolutely astonishing finish. I think I probably owe the drivers a quick look at that final standing. So let's just make sure that we do what we should do. Should make sure that at least that we call out everybody's results. So I will do that. Let's have a check then and make sure that everybody is fairly represented. So Nintendo in 7th. So Grinch crossed the line in 8th. And I think we have John P, AMAC. As they finished, we have Kelvin the Boss and Irish Liquid in 11th and 12th, with Musho Keefe with his debut finishing at the back in 13th place. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to V8 Eater, Jose Luis and Pumpkin King for the tremendous podium here at Kyoto. Thanks to you for watching. We really appreciate all your support. Make sure you're subscribing to both channels, mine here and at SVR-Racing as well. Visit the respective stores using the QR codes you found at the start of today's race. But from me, Webbo, from us here at SVR, thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next race day.